Hey everybody, it's Chai, and going through some of the stuff that I got from Arcade Stick Indonesia. So obviously you've seen my lever collection before, and we got two new additions. We've got the new bullet tops, which are basically Golden Lever's version of the bullet top. We've got the VM6, which is the brand new case. It's much more compact, and however, it is still very much feature packed. I think the value on it is very good. It's got wonderful build quality, especially at its price range, and it's still got almost all of the features of the Versus case. So we'll take a quick look at that, like a quick first impressions. And then I did buy another pre-build, which is this time the Octa build, which I'm pretty interested in, especially because even though traditionally I'm not the biggest fan of Octagate, but this is kind of like Golden Lever's answer to the Nobi lever, and it is geared that way. Its specs are much more in line with with faster and medium, actually pretty quicker. So it's a little closer to the Japanese, but we'll go looking at that pretty soon. All right, so we'll set the Octa to last because it's going to be a fun unboxing. We're looking at my collection here, but we're looking at the Nobis, and you can kind of see them here, the print. Also, huge credits to the people that are putting Chinese and Japanese kanji, sayings in kanji on the bullet top. It just looks amazing. Here it's just my name, so Chai, and you can see the engravings look pretty good. Also, I will say that the Nobi handles, it's pretty light, but it's not. It's about the similar weight, but I really like this dimension to it. This prolonged bottom. It's longer, so that I think that's gonna really be a plus. I think this is kind of the shape I think I've been wanting from a Nobi, but I'm gonna be doing more Nobi tests later. This is not quite the time for me to put my opinion down on that because I'm still developing my opinions on bullet tops, but I am enjoying them. But I want to put them through a lot more use soon, so that's going to be a focus pretty soon. They do come with washers, each one, and I think that's because the crew at Golden Lever would like players to try both. They want to try at normal heights, but also at the extended height by putting a washer underneath it, and when you get them, you'll find them underneath. And we've also got the white here, and again, this is where you'd put the washer in here just to extend it, have it sit a little higher. Might be more to your liking, might be able to grip it more like a ball top in a way, but still very much gripped. So we'll put these away. So we're gonna put this here at the white. I got kind of a method to my madness here. I'll set this aside. Alright, so now this is the VM6. How about that? Got it with a nice handle. This handle feels very solid. I will need to take it apart to get all of the wax paper off, but so that's why it looks kind of funny here at the base of the handles. You get to engrave however you like here. I just put opportunity does not wait for us. I love the new VM6 logo. The new VM logo is great to indicate the VM line. And currently, by default, we've got the USB-B plug here. Not my favorite, but it works really well. And out of the box, this thing can have a bookboard installed very quickly into this case. Alright, of course we've got the iris. However, this iris is limited compared to what's on the Versus case. On the VS1R, the iris is very fully featured, and it allows you to rotate arcade levers. So you can reorient your lever and have it at the perfect angle that's just perfect for you. When messing with that, I mentioned it on my VS1R reveal, but basically when you use that, you want to be very minute with that, kind of like working within 5 degrees, because when you go past 5 degrees, it's pretty intense and it'll throw you off. But who knows, maybe somebody will find that to be perfect for them. But the idea is that you could go within small single-digit degrees, and you could pretty much, get the corner where you want it, get straight down where you want it. Iris is a wonderful feature. However, on the VM case, it is limited to the Cardi mod. So this iris is beautiful. So at least when you're using a lever, you've got a gorgeous presentation for your lever. You can see the mounting plate when you install a lever here, and that's good. That's really cool, especially with some of the Seimitsu levers, but or the new Neo lever, which is a very expensive lever, or a golden lever. You get to really see a good presentation of your lever, display it proudly in a way that not all cases can show, but the Versus case and now the VM6 really excel at doing that, at presenting your lever in a pretty amazing way. Also, there is another plate. This plate is for the standard, for pretty much most levers. However, there is one you can replace it with a wider hole, the 35 millimeter hole for a full color lever, and so the full color just is perfect fit in here when you change the plate. That's the case on the Versus case as well. So so when it comes to levers, the iris for the VM6 is pretty awesome for presentation, and also for being able to, a cool feature for it, if you do pop the bottom out, is you could remove the lever, the body, and keep the mounting plate attached to it, and that allows you to quickly modify like your Korean levers and change the grommets pretty quickly, relatively fast. But the big reason for the iris on the VM6 though is actually putting a Cardi mod in here, in which you can orient it so it's like this or like this. Basically, you got A and you got D, and WASD. So A and D here, right? And you can pretty much orient them as you see these lines here. So it is wonderful to get the perfect angle you want, as and it's very easy to do. And with some other layouts, you can pop this layout cover off. This case can use all of the same layout panels of the Versus case. In fact, it can even do more, because the VM6, probably because of the spacing and the way that the iris is now, it supports Vuelix layouts too. And there's Vuelix and there's Vuelix spaced. So I think it's awesome that Golden Stick Indonesia has added Vuelix as an option, but traditionally they do Nora, and Nora is actually my favorite these days. But for people that really want Vuelix, you now have it, and it works on the VM6. You can have a button here, you can have the top layout, you can also have the extra layout, which has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra buttons throughout. And that's a pretty quick explanation of the layout panel and how it works with the Versus case and now the VM6. If we're looking at the bottom, all plain here, again, I will clean up the wax paper. But again, we've seen this. Now let's look at the sides. If we're looking at the sides, it's now got 3 buttons on the side. This is actually an improvement over the Versus case, and 3 buttons here, total of 6 buttons. So now the recommended layout they have is something along the lines of like your start button, start option here, and you could have your share button and your your touchpad. You can also have your L3, R3, and your home button. Actually, what they recommend here is start, home button over here, and then the share button over here, or select. And then over here, they would recommend having like your L3 and your R3, and then your touchpad button here. That's the recommended layout, and it's a good one. That is something that this case has over the Versus case, where the current Versus case is, I kind of put my L3 up here and my R3 up here on the top layout. And you can do touchpad up here. And then, but I like having a thumb button for antagonist, and that's really all the extra buttons that I really care for. But for people that want to have everything, they can of course use the full extra layout. The extra layout is, again, it's got buttons here, 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 and then up here. So that's a lot of what the VM6 has. Now finally, the items inside is a sticker, some of the accessories for it. So unlike the Versus case, you do not pop off the, you do have to screw on, screw off the panels, the top or bottom, whichever one you want to take off. But it's very convenient, it's very secure, very safe, and again, you still have the high quality polyacetal or POM plastic throughout, and it's just so durable. And these, again, are the best mats on the market. These, they stick, but they're not sticky. They, if I put it on my carpet, it will not move. It will not move. I can try that, and it is hard to move. So, you know, like I have to lift it if I want to move. Those mats grip the carpet really well. If it's on a desk, it's going to be gripped. If it's on your lap, it works extremely well, and it's very comfortable. So it's important to know that. And then, you know, I recommend having a microfiber cloth to really always keep this thing super clean and really just beautiful with a nice shine. Right now you might see a little smudge here, but if you have a microfiber cloth, easy to wipe off, and it looks beautiful again really quick. So inside here is a few layout panels that you can kind of see some of the other accessories, like the iris accessory that will change it to so that you can make it a 35mm hole for the full color lever, and also a plate that's designed for the Cardi mod. And the Cardi mod's very easy to install. I'm not going to open this case up, but I have opened it up before, and you know, you've got like your brook board over here, and the wiring is pretty easy, and they've got instructions for that too. And so yeah, that is the VM6. This case is amazing. It's a wonderful value when you consider everything that it has and all the customization it lets you do. Another awesome thing about this layout cover, you can flip it. It is possible to unscrew this and flip it too, and then install this on the other side. And what will happen is you can do Southpaw Layout. Now, Southpaw is an interesting topic. In my view, so right now, most people on all button controllers, they're doing something like this, and it's great. This is like keyboarding. That's where I believe all button controllers like Hitbox took their inspiration, was from keyboarding. ASD, spacebar. When you play a platformer, this is how you play. And then they applied it to 2D fighters, and somebody realized, hey, this is pretty good. It's a great layout. Okay. So, something I have talked to Golden Lover about before, to Arcade Stick Indonesia long ago, and I don't think I'm the only one. I think other people have brought up the idea. Other people brought up out of needs for also that maybe they're left-handed and they wanted to play that way. But I think it's awesome that this case is one of the only cases that you can use that lets you really flip it and play Southpaw. And I think that could be a game changer, because even though I'm not primarily an all-button controller player, I do have an interest as a gamer and as someone who likes interface, and I do think all buttons is really, really good. Using your dominant hand for your movement is theoretically stronger than using your non-dominant hand. Theoretically, when you're playing fighting games, a lot of your dexterity, a lot of your reflexes, a lot of your changing your mind on what you're going to do, a lot of it has to do with your movement. And so if you're right-handed, I think it's worth thinking about the Southpaw layout for all buttons, because I think the weakness I had with all button controllers before is mainly my weakest finger aside from my pinky, would be my left ring finger. But on my right hand, while it's not a dominant finger, it's way better than on my left hand. And I feel like you can do a lot more dexterous motion when you do that. And then you would just dedicate some muscle memory to getting used to your left hand doing the action buttons, and you can decide whether you want it to be, this would be flipped, but you could decide whether it's going to be going like weak to strong this way or weak to strong this way, just because you're just used to that. And that would be up to you. That's the wonderful thing about this case, is you can really tailor it to the way you need it to be. And this is designed so that you could flip the top panel. You can remove it, flip it over, and then install this panel on the other side, flipped over, so that it could be left-handed. And it is demonstrated on video online. So that's something to really think about. Is this case is compact. This case has almost all the features of the Versus case. It doesn't have the switches to turn off the function buttons, and it doesn't have the switches to activate or deactivate the SOCD cleaner. But and it doesn't have as many ports. It really wants you to use that USB-B. You can change it, but it comes built in with that. But it's very affordable compared to the Versus case. It's much more affordable than the Versus case, and it is very feature packed, and it's very good quality, and it's a beautiful case. So I think the VM6 is definitely a case a lot of people should really think and consider doing, especially right now when a lot of people want to try different layouts. This one can do pretty much everything. While it doesn't, at the moment, I haven't seen layout panels for like something that looks like a hitbox or looks like a Snackbox Micro. I personally believe that the ASD and button is a wonderful way to do it. But you can also do the WASD, which is what the Cardi Mode does by default. And you can also have a button, and you can decide if you want an arcade button or the thumbs up, which is a space bar that can be rotated. So again, lots to think about. Make this case like your own, and I'm a big fan of this case. So we'll do eventually I'll do a build and show it off. But that is the VM6. All right. So now we've got Octa, the latest pre-built lever from Golden Lever, from Arcade Stick Indonesia. And they have it follows in the footsteps of the Korean build, which was the default build, and then the Japanese build, which had been done probably about 3 times now. But the latest one is really good. I really like the latest Japan build. And then it's pretty close to what my build is. And then we had the Golden Fanta Stick, which I think I featured before, and I'll feature it again. That one is really good, imitating the green lever from Korea, from a famous arcade in Korea. And now we've got the Octa Layout, which I think it's an original build by them, but I think it's a response to the Nobi lever by Seimitsu. That's just a guess. But I think it's kind of based on some of the ideas there. All right. So as usual, I'm gonna open a box. Let's go look at this wonderful manual that they have. So this manual now shows it's now been updated. It is updated with the builds. So let's talk about it really quick. We got the Korean setup, you got the Japan setup, and you see the Octa setup. So it's got the bull top that we saw earlier. It's got 11 millimeter aluminum, so the golden aluminum shaft, which is probably their lightest weight shaft, but it's a really good one, and very durable. But 11 millimeters means that it's going to have a shorter throw. It's a bigger shaft, so at the top, it's going to interact with the collar sooner because of how big the shaft is on the top half of it. Okay, and then it's got an octagonal low collar, which is similar to the Nobi Pro. And then it's got the white GL core, which is a standard bobbin. It's got normal tension, which I believe is medium spring. It's got the green 40A silicone. So now this is that's kind of their lightweight, but now they have an ultra light clear, which is in the Japan build. But the green, they have a light green, then they have a green. So the green is a little more tense, a little more firm than what used to be their lightest setting. So now it is now the third lightest setting. So it's getting closer to medium, but it's still in the light tension area. It's got the white base. It's got white bushing ring. So it means it's got a black bearing, 16mm black bearing, which is what's used in all three of the builds. And it's a really, really good bearing actuator. It means you're going to get the super smoothness that Golden Lever really has and should be known more for. And then like the Japan lever, it's using the A5 switches from Omron, which are a softer switch. You feel that you still get a good feel from them. A lot of people tend to prefer the A5s over the A6, but the A6 is a firmer switch. These are a little softer. And then the spacing is 15.5mm, which is the same spacing that they use on all three of the builds now. It's a really good spacing, and it just means that the shaft is lined up with the actuator pretty well. And in this case, it's a more tighter setup like the Japan setup. The reason the Korean setup would be a much larger throw is because it's using a 9mm shaft. So anyways, all the nerd details out of the way, let's get to the Octa setup. So I always love the Golden Lever stickers, and I do love the stickers they've had since 2022. So it's a very beautiful sticker. The colors just pop a lot more than the Golden Lever sticker that were in the older models. You've got your spacer set and your Arcade Stick Indonesia sticker. The sticker can be done as a decal for just the lettering, or it can be done with a black background, up to you. And then all the spacers that you need for adjusting, customizing the spacing of the micro switches underneath. One of the best features of Golden Lever. A feature that you really don't have anywhere else. We've got our harness. The instructions tell you pretty much where to put it based on how the lever's oriented in your controller. Alright, you can see the bullet top. Just take it out. Okay, no other accessories, that's pretty much it. But you've got your plate, you've got your QR code, which can always get you to the manual for this lever. It's a wonderful feature, you know, and all the details. And then you've got your standard medium golden washer, and you can see how thick that 11mm shaft is. Big difference from a 7 or a 9. And again, got your bullet top, which I'm pretty sure is sitting on a washer to be taller. Maybe not, because actually in the packaging it did come with an extra washer, so I think they actually give you a bonus washer because maybe it doesn't need one in here. You can see the collar here. It is the octagon collar. Like how everything sits flush. That polyacetal plastic is a good plastic. It's really solid, and everything's really smooth. The curves are good. This is the posts or the bolts that are used also for the custom spacing as well. For the spacers so that we know the right size. It's flush. You can see that golden, that black bearing actuator, and you can see the white bushing underneath, and the white ring. That's where the E-clip's sitting, and it feels really good. Feels really, really good. So that is the Octa, and I'm excited to try it out. to put it in a build and play with it. See how I like it. I'm liking the feel of it right now. But you never know until you mount it. Like, until you mount a lever, you really don't know how it feels. So, put everything back here. I think the golden lever sticker has a little bit more of a matte to it than a few months ago. Just for ASI. Sometimes I like to think of it's like Versus or something, or SV, right, when it looks like that, but it's actually Arcade Stick Indonesia, ASI. And there we go. All right, thank you very much. This was a real fun exploration of new product, and Golden Lever is pretty much my favorite brand, so I'm pretty excited to try out this lever and to try out the VM6 and do a lot of builds with it. So everyone have a good one. Enjoy your weekend, and thank you very much. Thank you all for your support and kind words and feedback. This community has just always been very wonderful. Cheers, have a good one, and hope to play with you soon.